Ever notice how the price of that 2x4 seems to jump around like a startled squirrel? One minute you're thinking about that new deck, the next you're staring at a lumber bill that makes your wallet weep. Well, that's where things get interesting, because behind the fluctuating costs of Canadian lumber, there's a whole world of international trade disputes, political posturing, and economic realities. And right now, it's a particularly lively world, especially when you throw in a bit of, let's say, spirited commentary from south of the border. We're talking about the ongoing saga of softwood lumber, a commodity that's as essential to building homes and businesses as air is to breathing. For decades, Canada and the United States have been locked in a complex, often acrimonious dance over this very timber. The core of the problem? Accusations of unfair subsidies. American lumber producers often argue that Canadian companies get an unfair advantage because of government support, which allows them to sell lumber at prices that undercut the American market. This, in turn, leads to a cycle of investigations, duties, and retaliatory measures that can make your head spin faster than a chainsaw. And the most recent chapter? It involves the former President of the United States, Donald Trump, and his repeated criticisms of Canadian lumber practices. His comments, often delivered with characteristic bluntness, have reignited the flames of this long-standing trade dispute, reminding everyone of the high stakes involved. The issue isn't just about dollars and cents. It's about jobs, economic competitiveness, and the very fabric of the relationship between two of North America's closest allies. It's a story of competing interests, legal battles, and the ever-present shadow of political influence. So, why does this matter to you, the average Canadian? Well, beyond the cost of your next home renovation, these trade disputes have ripple effects that touch everything from the price of your groceries to the health of the Canadian economy. Understanding the forces at play gives you a window into the complexities of global trade, the dynamics of international relations, and the impact of political decisions on our daily lives. It's about seeing past the headlines, beyond the sound, bites, and into the heart of a conflict that continues to shape our world. It's about how the seemingly simple act of buying wood can become a battleground for economic power and political influence. And it's about how the words of a leader, even a former one, can still have the power to shake the very foundations of an industry. Ready to dive in? Les origines de cette querelle, bien qu'elles semblent récentes dans les manchettes, remontent à des décennies. En fait, le litige sur le bois d'œuvre a commencé au début des années 1980, avec des plaintes américaines concernant les subventions canadiennes. Les États-Unis soutenaient que le gouvernement canadien, par le biais de diverses mesures, notamment des redevances sur le bois moins chères que celles du marché, favorisait de manière injuste les producteurs canadiens. Cela, selon les Américains, leur donnait un avantage déloyal, inondant le marché américain de bois d'œuvre à des prix artificiellement bas. Construisant sur cela, il est crucial de comprendre la structure de l'industrie forestière canadienne. Contrairement aux États-Unis, où une grande partie des terres forestières sont privées, le Canada possède la majorité des forêts. Les provinces accordent des licences aux entreprises pour récolter le bois sur ces terres, et c'est là que le cœur du débat bat. Les Américains soutiennent que ces licences, combinées aux redevances imposées, constituent une subvention, car le bois est vendu à un prix inférieur à celui du marché. En conséquence, le Canada, lui, défend bec et ongle son système. Il affirme que les redevances sont une pratique normale, reflétant le coût de la gestion des forêts publiques, et qu'elles ne constituent en aucun cas une subvention déloyale. De plus, les Canadiens avancent que les producteurs américains ne sont pas toujours compétitifs et que les accusations de subvention sont souvent motivées par la protection du marché intérieur. Une autre couche essentielle à considérer est l'influence des cycles politiques. Les relations canado-américaines, et en particulier les litiges commerciaux, ont tendance à fluctuer en fonction des administrations en place. Les gouvernements américains, avec des agendas et des priorités différents, ont adopté des approches variées face à la question du bois d'œuvre. Certaines administrations ont cherché des règlements négociés, tandis que d'autres ont opté pour des sanctions commerciales agressives. Maintenant, examinez comment cela s'applique lorsque vous suivez les nouvelles. remarquez comment la rhétorique change selon le contexte politique. Les déclarations de personnalités publiques, telles que l'ancien président Trump par exemple, ont le pouvoir d'enflammer les tensions et d'influencer les négociations. Ces critiques virulentes, parfois teintées de nationalisme économique, ont eu un impact direct sur le climat des échanges commerciaux et sur les perspectives de résolution du litige. Pensez aussi à la complexité des accords commerciaux. Les accords, comme l'accord de libre-échange nord-américain, ALENA, et maintenant l'accord Canada-États-Unis-Mexique, ACEUM, ont tenté de réglementer le commerce du bois d'œuvre, mais leurs dispositions ont souvent été contestées et interprétées de manière divergente. Ces accords, bien qu'ils visent à faciliter les échanges, n'ont pas réussi à éteindre complètement le feu de la controverse. It's become evident, hasn't it, that the saga of Canadian lumber is much more than a simple economic skirmish. It's a tangled web of politics, policy, and perception, woven over decades. As we've navigated the complexities of this particular trade dispute, we've seen how the ebb and flow of international relations can impact the most commonplace aspects of our lives, from the cost of building a home to the very structure of our economic partnerships. Drawing these threads together, a landscape emerges, a panorama painted with the brushstrokes of competing interests and divergent perspectives. We've glimpsed the vast forests of public and private lands, the bureaucratic dance of tariffs and duties, and the sharp rhetoric that often accompanies these negotiations. It's a landscape constantly reshaped by the winds of political change, where the words of leaders, both past and present, carry the weight of economic consequence. Imagine it as a carefully constructed dam, a vital structure designed to manage the flow of resources. But cracks appear, and the pressure builds. This is not merely a story of wood and wages. It's a narrative about how nations interact, how they protect their economic interests, and how the actions of one can reverberate across borders and affect the lives of everyday citizens. Consider the ripple effect, like a stone thrown into a placid lake. The initial splash, the direct impact of tariffs and duties, sends out concentric waves, touching everything from the price of goods to the stability of industries. These ripples, however, are not always predictable. They can be amplified by political currents, distorted by economic realities, and sometimes even obscured by the fog of misinformation. In light of these insights, the path forward becomes clearer, illuminating. The intricate dance of trade, policy, and the ever-present push and pull of global economics. We've witnessed a clash of ideologies, a collision of economic philosophies, and a constant negotiation of power dynamics. This is not a static story, but a dynamic one, ever evolving with each new development, each political shift, and each change in the global landscape. Reflecting on this journey so far, we recognize the interplay of national interests, the impact of historical context, and the role of individual actors in shaping the destiny of an industry. The narrative of Canadian lumber is a microcosm of the larger world, a reminder that even the most seemingly straightforward transactions are often embedded in a complex web of relationships and influences. It's a story that underscores the importance of understanding the forces that shape our world and the lasting impact of decisions made far beyond our own backyards. So, what does all of this mean for us, the folks who simply want a solid roof over their heads and a comfortable place to call home? Well, the saga of Canadian lumber and the political squabbles surrounding it serves as a potent reminder. The world is interconnected, and the decisions made in boardrooms and legislative halls have real, tangible effects on our everyday lives. It's a story that underscores the importance of staying informed, of understanding the complex forces that shape the global economy, and of recognizing that nothing, not even a simple piece of wood, exists in a vacuum. Think about the implications, the quiet undercurrents that flow beneath the surface of these trade disputes. They hint at the tensions inherent in international relations, the delicate balance between cooperation and competition, and the constant negotiation of power and influence. The accusations and counter-accusations, the tariffs and retaliatory measures, these are not just economic tools. They are reflections of deeper-seated anxieties, of competing national interests, and of the ever-present struggle to secure a competitive advantage. They also highlight the fragility of trust and the ease with which agreements can unravel when economic pressures mount and political winds shift. Beyond the immediate impact on lumber prices and construction costs, there's a broader lesson to be learned here. It's about the need for critical thinking, for looking beyond the headlines and the sound bites, and for seeking out the underlying truth. It's about understanding the complexities of global trade, the dynamics of international relations, and the role that policy plays in shaping our world. It's a call to be engaged citizens, to ask questions, to demand transparency, and to hold our leaders accountable. Moreover, this lumber dispute encourages us to appreciate the value of dialogue and negotiation. It reminds us that even the most entrenched disagreements can be resolved if all parties are willing to find common ground and compromise. The true practice begins now, in our willingness to learn, to understand, and to engage in thoughtful discussions about the issues that affect us all. It begins with the recognition that the choices we make, both individually and collectively, have the power to shape the future. A future where fairness, cooperation, and understanding prevail. The next time you see a stack of lumber or hear a report on trade negotiations, remember this. It's not just about wood, it's about the world, and our role in it.